What's up, everybody? This week we dish out all the deets from our holiday party, nerd out about AI storytelling, and reveal Grace's favorite episode of Rick and Morty. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Straight Shot Post Podcast. Grace and I are back. This is the last week of the year, at the company. I'm trying to see if we can do the podcast next week after the holidays, but we'll see.
I'm going to be couch surfing in Jersey, so we'll see if I find a mic.
That'll be fun.
Along the way.
That'd be fun to see you in a kid's bedroom or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
One of those things about the industry that we're in is that, the holidays tend to be a pretty busy time. Things shut down only right about now, but we actually do have deliverables that we have to hit for today. So it's been pretty busy with work, I guess, in the last few months. And I think maybe what would be good in this episode is to sort of maybe recap the year and then really look forward towards next year, which is a little bit of a different format. I mean, specifically this week, I can go into a couple of the big things, but I think they affect next year. So I guess first we'll just say we had our holiday party last weekend, and it was awesome to have everybody in person. And Elise, one of our editors, we flew her out from Mississippi. And it was great to see her in person. I want to hear your thoughts, Grace, but I think it was very important, actually.
Yeah.
Like for the culture.
Yeah.
For people to kind of,
for sure.
I guess I'll say this. One of the big lessons I think I'm taking away from the year is the reasons why people do things are varied, I do it for the glory.
Do what for the glory?
What I do. I want to be the best. It's for me. It's because I want to be the best, and I want to feel like I deserve it. It's a very personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I realized is that for a lot of the people here, they do it for other people. They do it because they want to be valued as a team member, whatever, liked by their managers, whatever, you name it. But other versions of I do this for my friends, for my family, to have a life outside of here, etc. There's just many different ways to do it. And obviously, you and I are maybe a bit more on the unique personality side. So I just realized I think it was really important to bring people together because it kind of really showed them what they, why they were doing it, Obviously, I have my own reasons. It's very personal why I'm doing it. I'm going after legacy. I'm going after my own personal, what I think of myself is that's the thing that drives me the most. But, what we ended up doing, we did an escape room. I thought that was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you liked the escape room because I thought it was I set it up and then I didn't go. And so I thought it was a baking thing where you're all going to bake. And I was convinced that Dale's going to hate it and that a lot of people would hate it. But I did it because I thought Elise, the person coming from Mississippi, would specifically like it. So I chose that. But everyone ended up liking it. I mean, it sounded really fun. You didn't actually bake.
No. You didn't have to bake. You had to solve puzzles to get out of the room. But it was a baking themed one, and then we all got a cupcake at the end. There was some food in it. It was one of the clever things I loved about it is there was a part where they had a board of different fruits with switches on it, and in another part of the room there were these jelly beans in jars, and you had to actually eat the jelly bean and taste it to figure out what flavor to then go to the fruits and flip the switch, which happened by accident. Because I just remember going, hey, are those real jelly beans? Hook me up as a joke. And then as I was chewing it, it clicked. I was wait a minute, this tastes like pineapple. Is pineapple one of the fruit? And it was sort of fun to do that and sort of see different people, sort of take charge. Oddly enough, the people who normally manage, Brittany and I, we just kind of sat back and let people do things. And then our editors just took charge and ended up really having the most fun. Which I guess kind of makes sense when editing is kind of problem solving, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. We call it puzzle piece storytelling here, so I'm not surprised that they.
I mean, I would argue producing is also that. So in their own right, they're both problem solving. Yeah.
Dude, everything is problem solving basically. But what I mean is literally when you're editing, it's taking pieces and making it into a thing, right? That I definitely can see how they like games and stuff like that. So that was a really good time. And then afterwards we had a lovely dinner, and then we did karaoke, which was also turned out to be a really good time. Outside of I guess like New York karaoke, it feels like it was like hard mode. Like there was no background vocals.
I can't believe I've never been to a karaoke with background vocals. Like that's the only kind I've ever done. Like I didn't know that's a thing. Like that's just singing along. Karaoke, you're
like
singing
rock
yourself.
band. When we did rock band, yeah, that's what I'm used to.
Singing along.
Yeah, of course, in the shower, in the apartment, through a video game or something. But
I feel like I used to do karaoke really seriously with my mom. Like we'd go once every 2 months or something. And, you know, we would like prepare what songs we were going to do. And it was so much so to the point where like I took it so seriously where like I would sing as if it was a performance. And then once this, my mom's friend was like, oh my God, you should audition for this thing. And so then like she took me to a recording studio and I like recorded this thing and auditioned for this Japanese like singing show. But then I don't like singing like that. I like singing for fun. So then going to this karaoke, I was like, it was my first time like not trying to sing. I was just like screaming just because it was more fun. And so, yeah, that was a fun experience where I like didn't care how I sounded.
It was a good time.
It was so fun. Yeah.
The raps were funny. I forget which one, dude. I think it was when I did the Enemy, when we did, the Arcane theme song, which I knew when I picked it. I was like, oh, when this comes up, the like people who have seen the show are gonna, and I knew it had to have been some of the people in the group. The best was that one of our project producers brought her friend who like was the life of the party. And when that song came on, she was like, yes, good choice. And she was like, good choice. And then that song has this rap that goes really fast in the back half that I just tried my hardest and like everybody gave up. And I was like, I don't think I got half of the words right, but I tried.
It was so fast. Yeah.
But it was a good time. So I think overall that was a success.
I feel like I'm very comfortable with, so Pat and Brian are like our writer and editor have been here for, you know, as long as I've been here. So I feel like the specific comfort with them also because I've seen them in person many times. But I like definitely feel like I was able to build some of that comfort with everyone else because I don't ever see them. And it's like specifically Elise, like it was a really short period of time, but walking from the barbecue to the karaoke, we were just like one-on-one talking. And like, I really got to understand her just by talking about like her time in the city. And so I really like that. Like being in person gives you so much subtext information.
I think it's fun. I think it's important. And like looking to next year, I think we're going to try to do, I think our ultimate goal is like one big event like every quarter. Not that we would like fly people out 4 times a year, but like probably I think we will do one like company anniversary, which is in the summer. We'll probably just bump it up from July to like June. And then we'll probably do a holiday party. So like twice a year, there'll be like big things. And then we'll probably do something in the spring, winter, and something in the fall. That's more like a happy hour type of event. Yeah. And before we wrap this up, one of the funny things is like I was hanging out with a good friend of mine. Shout out to Ruba Joe, who was just, as I was describing, I met up with him after the party, you know, we were having a drink, which he introduced me to the penicillin. Anyone out there? Oh my God. That is like amazing.
You liked it?
In the whiskey sour family. Yeah. So good. Well, we were at we went to cool, fancy New York places to get it, but definitely was just a great drink. So he was just shocked as I was explaining to him because we hadn't seen each other in a while. I was like, yeah, I have a company. Yeah, we have a holiday party. He was like, your holiday party? I was like, yeah, my company's holiday party. He's like, you have a company though? Like, what do you mean by that, you know? And I realized like nobody really knows what like we're doing here all still, you know? Like, they're like, you mean you have 8 people W-2'd? I was like, 8 W-2'd and growing right now. He was just like, get the hell out of here. That's crazy. I was like, it is crazy. You know, and yes, and I just put people in a hotel. You put them in a hotel, bro. That's, you know, like it was like, I was like, this thing is real. And it's funny because yesterday we had a meeting where we are trying to make an org chart, something that actually really helps clearly define the roles and responsibilities of the company going into next year as we start these 2 companies, trying to make things clear. And one of our producers, it was hilarious. They were like, getting very overwhelmed. Like, this, I don't understand. What do you mean? Like, this has, like, we have to duplicate? I'm like, every show needs to have this team at some point. And they were like freaking out about like how big it would get, you know? And then I was just like, yeah, this is what it is, right? Like, this is the reality of what happens if you are planning properly, if you are growing properly, and if you're creating a lot of value. And like, I don't want them to sit here and just think we're going to be in a basement. I want them to think big. I want them to really see how much potential we can have. I thought that was really funny, actually, because I get it. Like, this is what you're used to, is like, you're at home, you're young, you know, you might be living with your parents or whatever, but like the only way to get to become Apple is to, you know, you have to think like Apple, right? You have to understand like how to push and what it really takes to build a company that's going to have sort of long lasting value like that. And like, I don't want to be nearly as big as Apple, but I do want to be something that lives way beyond me. So we have to be thinking that way. I thought that was really funny.
It definitely, I feel like we all had our own moment of freaking out, like everyone in the call at different times, but I totally freaked out too. I was like, damn. I started thinking about it and I was like,
yeah, but it's like as if you were the one that had to deal with it all, right? That's what was funny.
Right.
You know?
No, but what freaked me out was like, I started thinking, like seeing all the roles and I was like, oh, where do I want to be? And then I remember you said at one point, like for studios, you're like, oh, this is EP. Grace would be like the EP. And then I was like, would I want that? And then you're like, no, she actually wouldn't be. And then I was like, and then it just made me think. I was like, I don't know what I want.
Yeah, that was such another funny part of the thing. You guys are taking it so seriously, you know?
Well,
like,
no, I'm not like, I know.
No,
I see
this
it
is
as
overall. This was like, the
Just
group was like,
oh,
this is it. You just laid out my
Well,
entire
no,
destiny in front of me. I'm like, no, dude, I'm just putting names.
Like
I'm just putting names on a board right now, trying to project what one possible timeline looks like, right? There was a big conversation, and maybe this would be good for the show, is like, is it good to give people a sense of where their growth would be at the company, like, or not, I guess, you know? That was a big conversation yesterday. Where did you land on that conversation? Because I was on the line of like, of course, if somebody's going to join the company, they're going to want to know where they're going to go if they stay, right?
Yeah.
But I'm curious because some people really didn't.
I mean, personally, I don't know that I would where I am right now. I don't know that I would. I mean, I guess it'd be nice to be like, oh, you could end up there, but like, I would want multiple paths because right now, like when I started here, I did not have any ambitions to be where I am. I kind of just ended up here. So, yeah, I don't know. I that's where I landed. It could be good. It could not be. It depends on the person.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it is important because they need to at least be aware of, to your point, it's not like it, and as you can see, there are multiple places people can go. They can go commercial, they can go to YouTube, they can go to our Snapchat channels. Like I think that's actually why it's so important, is to be like, okay, because I think somebody brought up, if they want to work on Snapchat, why would they start on the Webtoon side? I'm like, because they want to work on the Snapchat side. How else are they going to get there if there's no opportunity to start there, right? And this is like this is how it would go. Is like, I think people are thinking that like you can only move vertically, but the reality is you can also move laterally. Right? If you wanted to. And I think that thing of like, I've done this department for years and I don't like it anymore. What else can we do? Well, you could stay a producer, but I have something else for you to be producing on. And that could keep, we need to have options for people so that they stay at the company longer, right? Like if they like the company, but they don't like either their job role or the content or whatever, we need options for them to continue to grow and keep their skills. And especially if they like the culture and all that, to stay, but have something else to do. That's kind of the way I look at it, is giving people options, but also letting them know if they commit to the company, what opportunities are available for them. And I think that it's hard for people here to see this as like anything other than a startup, but we won't be a startup someday.
Which was, by the way, this reminded me of when we talked to Market Hire yesterday. And, well, we met with, so that's the marketing company we're working with. And they're going to match us with a growth marketer who's going to help, build the company, basically. And, we're like in an interviewing phase where we're going to meet multiple possible growth marketers and see which one we like. And after the interview, though, we were asking the person from the company, being like, what do you think? Like, did you think this is a good person for us? And she was basically, when she was talking about that, she said, like, you guys probably feel like a startup, but we've worked with more like startup-y startups, like hardcore startup-y startup. And that made me go, oh, wow. Like, I guess.
I'm like,
yeah, right?
I can't
like,
see there being a more startup version.
Yeah, I was like, this is so startup. But yeah, that was cool. That was cool to hear. It was like a little reassuring.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, no. No. We're not there yet. We're not even, we're like, I want to keep them expectations low. I want to stay an underdog and I want to keep fighting. One thing I like about the way they do it is after talking to them, they're really smart about thinking about the freelancer experience too. So they only pair you one at a time. You only do one interview and then you pick on that one guy or girl. And if you like them, you keep them. And if you don't like them, then they'll send you the second person to look at, but it's one at a time. And you would think, compared to all the different HR types things and all the hiring we have done, like I've realized we need to see a lot of people usually. Usually it's not the first person that's going to nail it. But in this case, the convenience of them doing all of that. So literally it's like, I felt a really good vibes off that first call already. And I'm almost scared to just say yes, because like we've learned so much to find the right person. But at the same time, because I was moving so quickly, like we made the last batch of hires so fast. It was like the second or third person. And I was just like, they have the right vibe. At this point, I'm at least picking up on like the vibe and the values that they have, that I at least know it won't be horrible.
Also, are you talking about the people from Argentina that you're interviewing?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about like that compared to the market hire, right?
Yeah, because what's worth saying, like hiring now in this stage versus back a few months ago was like a few months ago we were doing the first rounds, but right now Argentina, Sophia's doing the first rounds, we're getting the second rounds, and market hire too is doing the first round for us. So I think it is faster and easier now to just be like, yes, they're giving us really quality people.
Yeah. So overall, on the team side of things, I feel really good. I think we have a really good group of people who are going to make it happen. I think that they are currently overwhelmed because right now we're in big picture mode, and I'm realizing how scary that is for a lot of people. So they're not seeing the fact that like they're seeing it all at once, and then they're thinking it all has to get done at once. They're not seeing like what your day is. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be
that's why I feel
a big
like
shift in the new year. Yeah.
What I like see the value of seeing where you're gonna go, but I'm picturing like a year and a half ago, if I was told like what I was gonna be doing now, I probably would have freaked out. Like even this is like nothing, but I would probably freak out and be like, no, thank you, and like leave. So I kind of appreciate I'm at a ripe age of 22 where everything's scary. So
I just, but maybe it's a generational thing, or maybe it is just a person thing. Cause like if somebody told me at that age, if somebody gave me the opportunity with resources to go and build something, I mean, I think I would have jumped on it, where it's like, wait, you're telling me
that's your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's your thing. Yes, totally.
Yes. I know that. But the question is, I don't know how many, I don't know if 10, 15 years ago, that was a more common outlook than now. And I'm wondering because obviously so much has changed, but like there wasn't, like, I think right now there's a lot of the grass is greener just in general. Cause like social media, like the grass is always greener.
Dating apps.
But I didn't have that. Or in general, they were saying something like, you have a job. You may even like your job, right? And then you go on Instagram or TikTok and they're like, here's the free latte I got in the pod at Google and the whole,
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, why not that job? And so no matter what, I think no matter what it is, you're like, oh man, I made a little book. And then you see on Instagram and they're like, I made a movie. And you're like, oh geez, you're only, where it's like when I was coming out, it was the opposite. It was more like none of it feels possible. So let me take what I can get and grow and go, and I'm just wondering if it's just like different. I don't know which one is even more honest, like true to life, I guess. But yeah. Wow. Oh, I think I broke you. If anyone's watching this on YouTube, you could just see it.
Yeah.
But I do think that the one that keeps you more humble might just be better, like overall. So like the grass is always greener, but that's in your head. Not to mention, and like, I don't think people are asking like, am I happy? Do I value what I'm doing on the day to day? And then kind of ignore all the rest, right? Like just keep doing you. Because the constant anxiety of the fact that there could be something better out there is a lot. And I deal with that all the time, but now
in the world of abundance. Yeah.
Yes. But now we have been given these incredible tools, at least on the storytelling side, because I'm always thinking about that. Where I've officially totally gotten the AI bug and now I'm obsessed and like talk about things that were impossible or unimaginable or stuff that I was just settling for, this just changed everything. I was like, wait a minute, why am I settling? Look at how beautiful these images are that I'm creating very quickly. And it really showed me like, okay, this is where we're at. As in like good still images of any style. Developed a character I actually am falling in love with, a character that I'm like proud of. In all these different styles, in all these different iterations, just tweaking the hair, the eyes, the length of the torso, all of these different things through different keywords to get me to a place where I'm like, wow. And I've only been messing with it like off work hours, basically, like on Midjourney. And now I feel so confident that working with our illustrator coming in, I'm like, dude, this is the character. Like, it feels so correct. And I did it alone. And I used the Chat GPT, which is the writing one, to write stories and to write character descriptions that made sense. And I workshopped it. That's what I don't think people realize. It's not just like, hey, tell me what to do. It's like, yo, here's a character I'm thinking of. Hit me with your feedback. Boom, it writes a description. Hey, I love what you wrote. What if we added this and this to the description? And it just evolves and evolves. So it's like an extremely fast, creative partner is the best way I would describe it on both of these things. That's, I think, is super powerful. And so I feel like next year we're going to lean so heavy into that. And Straight Shot Studios is definitely now even more clear in my head that it's going to become, Pixar for the new digital era. It is going to be an animation studio that leverages AI to help tell its stories and bring hopefully lots of powerful emotions to the world. So it was just great. It was just a week of like, I was like, wow, last week of the year. And like, I now have like, wow, like just so much, I think, and like my worldview has changed. Like that is very rare. Like I see the world differently now because of these tools. And I just can't wait to see what's going to come next, basically. So yeah, that was another big one from this week. And, good for next year.
And you blew my mind when you said the fact that this like amazing level of technology is given to the public means that the people building it probably are like way ahead, like in hiding, not still unreleased.
You're totally right. I think Chat GPT 4 is probably coming out next year, right?
Right. So I can't even imagine like what's gonna come.
That's what's crazy. Yeah. And then also you kind of have to recognize like, okay, so once they open it up to the public and you have like Midjourney has over 1 million users, the data they get from the users has lots of things they never even thought of either. And the demands for it. So they just add --NIJI, which basically is like there was a demand for people who wanted big action manga anime poses. So much so that they built a specific engine to emulate that. And it's awesome. So that's what I mean. In a matter of months, the thing is only like 2-3 months old. So there's a demand for creating consistent characters also, right? So I know within a year or two, you're going to be able to create, which I've seen workarounds already for it, to say like, this is the character I created. Now AI model, train on this character. So only that character is what you're giving me. And then I can just work around that. That's where it's going to blow open. And the moment that you can do that with multiple characters, that's where all of a sudden true AI storytelling is going to get born, because right now it struggles with multiple characters. It struggles with consistency. There's workarounds, but like it's just going to get easier. And it struggles with like, I'm finding it's struggling with animals. Oh, yeah, but those are little details, right? Like those are. Yeah. So I think truly the best combination is you get your beautiful designs, you get lots of ideas from it, and then you take it into Photoshop and you like do it and finish it and tweak it. So I think the combination of us having a creative illustrator that even just like has good taste and knows what good art is and can use these things for powerful references and be able to generate books and images like just way faster, So I definitely think, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Like there's many people who understand how crazy this thing is, but like just doing it, it's just, I'm obsessed, man. It's hit every nerdy data analytics, storytelling, artsy, everything for me. And I'm super excited for it. So yeah, that's the big 2023 thing is like master as best as I can these tools, these two new tools.
This reminded me, okay, so, yesterday you created the character Penelope and you asked me to send it to our lawyer so we can copyright the character. And so you wanted me to like tweak something on it. So my go-to would be to send it to my mom because she's so quick with the Photoshop. She knows how to do it. And that's always my thing. But she was busy. So I was like, oh, let me try to figure this out. So then I just Googled how to do that on Photoshop. And then I did it. And I was like, oh, that was so easy. I made it such a hard thing in my brain. And I think this is like a overarching like 2022 learning curve is learning how to Google stuff. Because I'm a terrible Googler, but your thing is always, Google it. And so I remember this week, so Sophie's film that I'm helping on. Sophie is someone who used to intern here with us. She was asking a bunch of questions in the group chat about how to do something. And I just typed it into Google, and I didn't even click on anything. The first thing was the answer. So I screenshotted that and just sent it. And she's like, oh, I've been trying to figure out how to do that. And I was like, that's what you do. You do it for us, and you're like, make us feel so stupid. And I'm like, this is the Dale thing. But it's true. It's Google's so good.
And now and by the way, I saw an article to sort of tie it together that the CEO of Google was like, put Google on like red alert. Basically, the chat bot is better than Google for a lot of things. So it's like people, yeah. So Google's like trying to make sure they take the steps so that something like that doesn't replace Google search.
Oh, wait, what chatbot? Wait, I'm confused.
The ChatGPT, the same one. Because you can say, like you can ask it a question.
Oh, you can.
The thing is, Google will link out to a bunch of different options. So it's kind of better because instead of linking out to a bunch of options, it just tells you the answer.
Right. Oof.
And then it can give you resources. Now, the biggest thing is it's not accurate, right? It's not like...
Yeah. But soon again, enough,
guys, yes, just remember, like, it's going to get better and better. So,
yeah,
and Google has their own AI, but they didn't want to put it out because of its inaccuracies. But because OpenAI is like more of a research company, like people will flame Google for having a bad product. But OpenAI is like, this is a not perfect product. We want you guys to use it. It's beta. Yeah. So it's just a completely different tone that people are like, it's already so powerful. But and by the way, you have to remember, like, that's what's going to happen. All of a sudden, there's going to be business opportunities and real money involved. And then everybody's got to get into the game. Capitalism is going to do what it does, and it's going to innovate and force better and better products. So it could be exponential growth in the next few years, like that we've never seen. And now I know where we need to be as storytellers positioned. Like, this is the next great movement, like color film, like digital cinema. Like, this is the next big thing. It's fun, and I'm glad to be there. So yeah, on the note of Googling things, yes, for the love of God, we have a rule here, guys, which is if you ever have a question, take 5 minutes to Google it, and then if you can't figure it out from there, then go ahead and ask. But that's the rule. Don't just ask. Like, learn how to figure it out, but don't waste too much time, because we probably do have the answers. But it's more about getting people into the habit of, like, so much of this you can figure out. And I complain, tongue in cheek, in a fun way, about about the fact that I'm the best tech at the company at everybody's job, which is silly. Right? So how am I the best producer and the best editor and the best marketer and the best assistant and the best whatever, right? Like, how is that possible when everybody just has to focus on their one thing? And I laugh because really a lot of it is just like, yeah, I'm just like, have enough skill to, Google and do enough of the research. What I realize, I think, is one of the biggest, only now do I see how valuable it is, the desire to learn, the willingness that I have to just read the book, Google the thing, watch the 10, 15 videos on Midjourney and actually care about getting it right and run it again and tweak a word and tweak, just a parameter and try this style and that, like that's what it is. I realize the difference here is that I'm actually just putting in the work, instead, and looking for the answers and seeking it out through the amazing tools that we have. And I don't think most people are usually doing that. And I think the younger people want to be told exactly how it gets done. I dealt with this all year. Talk about a big shift from this year to next year is like trying to really make people here understand that I'm not going to be giving you the answers anymore, because if you don't learn how to figure out how to get the answers, we're in trouble, And this is something my business coaches were preaching to me, as in, if something happens to me, y'all have to carry on. This is not about me. I'm not the thing. Like, you're not here for me, right? We are here to serve people. I am only a play a role and a piece of what the company does. It is not about me. So that is a big shift that I'm going to really be reinforcing in the culture next year. Like, you have to figure this out for them, basically. Because what happens if I'm sick? What happens if I'm out? What happens if, some crazy thing happens to me? Like, you guys need to, don't let this thing die. Carry on and figure it out and build something beautiful. That's how I look at it. So yeah, man,
Great.
Next year's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that everything?
Anything
for
else
the
that
year?
you want to cover? I mean,
To review 2022?
I will say this, because next year we're going to commit to this each week. I think next year is going to be a humble one, a one with tremendous amount of learnings. I think 2024 is when all of a sudden it's going to get real. Things are going to change, and it's going to just kind of start to explode. That's my guess. So maybe I want to hear. Take a guess.
In my heart
Take a
of
guess
hearts,
for next
though,
year. Yeah.
Like, because you said the same thing last year, kind of. And then I was like expecting, by 2023 for things to be crazy different. And things are different. But I don't know. It's hard for me to see that big of a change, seeing how it's developed in the past 2 years. I don't know. That's just...
But that's what I'm saying. I said next year I don't think is going to be... This year I think there was a lot of change. Like personnel change.
No, what I'm saying
staffing
is...
change. Our revenues coming from a different sort. Like a lot changed fundamentally about the company this year. We W-2'd people. We have Argentinian people. I don't think
no,
next
but what
year
I'm
is
saying
bring
is, I don't know if 2024 will be big either. Is what I'm saying. I'm not
asking about
like
2024. I'm telling you, give me your best guess about what next year is going to look like in your head. Just for fun. That way, at the end of next year, we could see what happened. Yeah.
For me, January is going to be a wash with taxes in my world. So I don't see.
You only have 11 months out of the year. Is that what you're basically looking at?
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Because I feel like there's always like some 1 month where we had to like put everything on pause, where we're like, this emergency we need to figure out. That's happened like twice or 3 times in 2022. So I could see that happening. So then that would leave us with 9 months. But in those 9 months, I think that, studios could happen.
That's probably the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think it's going to be,
crazy.
See. But yeah, I can see post just being steady.
Fingers crossed. That would be nice if it was steady and not as volatile.
Steady
as it tends to be.
I mean, I think that I'm considering what it is right now as steady. So.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I think Grace does bring a big one next year. She's thinking about studios and what that's going to bring. For me, I'm looking more at it being quote unquote conservative as far as I don't think we're going to grow. I think we're going to try to keep the people we have here. I think we're going to focus on a lot of internal things next year and then kind of get ready to sort of explode by the end of the year. I can tell you that the people that we're working with seem to think it will be faster. It feels like, outside of the fact that some things, our new website will be done in April, but the market hire person, our representative there was like, this stuff can change overnight. So very curious, looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. I'm sure there'll be new and different challenges. And you're right. I'm really looking forward to telling some stories and making some content. You guys can look forward to kids' books and comics from the Straight Shot Studios brain.
Can I just say, this is so off topic, but I'm sweating bullets here. And I don't know if you checked the weather, but today is like a historic day where the high is 56 and the low is 11 Fahrenheit.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like, I've never seen that. And so I really struggled to know what to wear and bring to work today. I brought like a whole wardrobe because I was like, okay, I'm going to wear my thick jacket, but like wear pretty light clothes under, but because it was like 57 and raining. And then when I leave, it's going to be 11, which probably going to feel like 0 or something.
Wow. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
that
what's
means
happening?
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, before every hour it gets lower and lower. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm gonna be freezing by the end of today.
All right, let's wrap this up with some questions and look forward to the holidays.
What about a pro tip?
Pro tip. Okay, pro tip. I mean, I'll do the chat GPT. A pro tip for chat GPT is to kind of what I was saying earlier. Think about it more as a partner where you're asking questions and getting feedback rather than just having it do the entire thing itself. I found it being most powerful when being used for revisions. So I'll give an example. I said, hey, here's some bullet points of a character. Write me a description. Okay. Or write me 3 different kinds of descriptions for this character, right? So you can take options, and then you're going to say, I love to. Let's work on that and add some of these elements, and then it will revise it. And so you can actually get it more and more unique as you continue to kind of go back and forth with it. And it does the same thing with the story. I had it write a story about how our 2 characters travel the world. And then all of a sudden I said, hey, can we, it made additional characters, which then inspired me to go, oh, what if these additional characters did this and that and had this quality and that thing? And it, again, revised and revised. So I would say the pro tip is to not underestimate the fact that it originates thing is what I think people really focus on. But I think what it's best at is refining and revising with your sort of input to make it specific. So yeah, there's that. Welcome to the future, y'all.
Cool.
And here's my question for you, Grace. So just for context, everybody, this question is because I'm finally getting Grace to watch Rick and Morty. So of the episodes that you've seen so far, and I know you're watching some of them out of order or whatever, but like of the ones you've seen so far, which one's your favorite?
Oh my gosh. Wait, let me think. There was the one in space, and then there was the Pickle Rick, and then there was what did I watch?
The one with the characters. I forget what
the
that was
characters, the parasites.
Yes.
And then there was one more, the one that the fortune cookie. I'm not gonna lie. Cookie. I think the fortune cookie one was, I mean, like Pickle Rick was like hilarious, and I know it's like apparently a classic. It makes sense now why people say Pickle Rick, but the fortune cookie one felt so like they're all creative, but that one, I don't know. I was just like, who thought of this? This is genius. Like everyone has a fortune and can't die until their fortune is achieved. And it was just so funny. I really love that one. Yeah, I watched Rick and Morty for the first time this week. I have been recommended it so many times because I loved Community, and people are like, you would love Rick and Morty then, but I haven't watched it yet. So, but now it's your turn to watch Community, but I should catch up on the rest of Rick and Morty.
I'm just not a fan of sitcoms. That's the problem.
But no one's, wait, are people laughing in that one? I don't think there's.
Either way, it's just like, it's like, it's a sitcom, but like, I will give it a shot. But I do love me some Rick and Morty. You know?
It's really good. Okay. This is so hard.
Yeah, welcome. If anyone happens to be a fan at this point, has watched these, I want to know in the comments how you feel about how Grace does this every single time.
Wait, somehow. I thought this part is cut out. Liam.
She knows the questions. Oh, well, if you don't know, this woman freaks out every time she has to ask me a question. This is like the 17th time we've done it.
It's really hard to produce a question, my brain. What was something unexpected from the holiday party?
Okay, I'm going to go with, because the team member stuff is always like fun. Like, wow, I didn't think that this person would be so outgoing or this person would really take charge. But the thing that sticks out to me, oddly enough, is our producer's boyfriend, who she's brought before. He's just like a white dude. This dude has the biggest smile in every photo, and he's just down to get down.
That's so true.
Right? Like, I was like, he
just like...
Yeah. And like, he threw on this like 6-minute Billy Joel song. And as soon as it came on, I wanted to look at him because like I'm from Long Island or whatever. I was like, bro, this is not the right crowd, bro. You know? But he was just like, all right, well, we're here, bro. We're doing it, instrumentals, and I'm just going to be me. And I was just like, I love this kid, you know? I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I appreciated that, because it's kind of awkward, you know, coming to your significant other's events and stuff sometimes. But he just, you know, he just went for it.
Yeah.
So I think, like, that was actually one of the unexpected kind of fun things, you know? There wasn't, like, an awkward...
Yeah.
person in the room besides our producer but she knows it.
But also I would say that about our other producers plus one, who was her friend. She was
that
such
one
a great
too.
time. She put on like obscure Lady Gaga songs.
That was the best. She did Venus for anyone who
wants
to know. It was so good.
It was awesome. Yeah,
that's right. The plus ones were probably the biggest pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
that like elevated the event, you know, because honest to God, our group is kind of a bunch of introverted, like, you know, not the most we have good conversation with each other, but like there's really only one or two of us, like, one of our editors, our editing team is probably the most, like, Myra and Brian were they're on the more outgoing side, but still pretty quiet, like, nerdy people. But these plus ones brought the house down, and thank God.
So now do you agree that I'm an introvert? Are you accepting that then? You're saying our whole team is introverted?
No, bro.
Okay.
We'll
check in again.
Fam, yeah, we'll do an episode. You're more introverted than other people, but like you plan events with people. Not just like, it's not like you're like, you come to my house, no, you plan a different event with a different person almost every night of the week. How am I supposed to?
You think that, but I didn't see a single person this week.
Bro. That's because what are you doing next week?
Yeah, that's true. I have to with
someone. Oh, okay. So there we go, guys. We will keep tracking this on the bar. Keep voting.
I had a moment yesterday where I was sitting on my couch eating, and it was like really existential. And I was like, "Do I love people?" And I really like got into it with myself.
I'm going to tell you right now, if we have the community section available, every year we're going to run the Is Grace Introverted or Extroverted poll. So that's another thing we're going to add. Is like we're definitely going to be polling to see what people think. Cool. All right. That's it for another week, guys. Thank you so much. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Work hard, be nice, and as always, keep changing. Catch you on the next one.